You're listening to the Spark Your Light podcast, where my mission is to help you create a life that sparks the light inside of you. This is episode 288, My Vision Board Process. This episode is for you if you either want to create a vision board or maybe have created them in the past, but would like some newfound inspiration, a simple process to make it easy, and also to learn more about the principles behind vision boards and what our intentions are, why we're creating them, and the impact they can have. So I just made a vision board recently, and one of my friends was wanting to take the process that we did together and bring it to her friends. And I realized that I didn't have a podcast episode explaining my process for vision boards. And I thought that it's something that's just so simple, but profound and important. So I wanted to bring it with you and share it here. So it's a very simple process, and I'm going to make it really easy by giving you templates, which are linked in the show notes. So you can easily drag and drop. So the first step is to get clear on your goals. It's important to have a clear vision of what you want before making a vision board, because if you don't have a clear vision of what you want, then you're not going to know what to put on your board. And it's probably just going to be an arbitrary board that doesn't create the effect. What we're really going for with making a vision board is feeling inspired. I mean, this podcast is about sparking your light. The vision board is about a daily spark, because I recommend that you set it as your phone background, as your laptop background. So every time you look at it, you feel sparked. That's what the vision board is about. There's also science behind the principles of manifestation and how looking at something every single day can make us more likely to achieve those goals. And if we think about it like this, if you feel sparked, you're more likely to take action on those goals. So it's really about creating that spark for you. And you need to have goals you're excited about. So that's step one. And if you don't have goals you're excited about, it's taking some time for yourself. It's going with what excites you the most right now, while knowing your goals will unfold. So it's this weird thing when we don't have goals we're excited about. We can't force them to come. Now, if you haven't taken time to yourself to think about your goals, to journal, to ask yourself what you want, to start to answer some of those powerful questions about what you want in your life, of course, do that. That's extremely important. But if you've already done that and you still feel like you're just unsure, I mean, the amount of times in my life where I've been at a crossroads and I haven't felt sure what my next step was or what was exciting me, it's completely normal. The way that we get out of that, the way that we find our way to goals that spark us, is to put one foot in front of the other and just reach for the things that feel a little bit more sparking, one step at a time. Continue doing that, not just in what we choose to do, let's say for work, for example, if you're trying to find professional goals that spark you. It's in everything we do. So recently, I have this new vision that is sparking me so much. And the way I uncovered it wasn't just by working and working and working and working, and then all of a sudden I had this vision for work, but more so it was by doing things that spark me in all areas of my life. So I was reading a book that I was sparked about, and that book led me to an idea, and that idea led me to some research and led me to conversations, which led me to this vision. So it's not instant, and it's not by putting your life in boxes. You are a human being that carries energy, and you carry that energy in all the different areas of your life. So it's important to lean into the things that spark you, even if they're not related to the goals that you're trying to get clear on, because even just the good feeling, the endorphins of a great workout can produce spark for your career, for another vision or goal you're trying to figure out in your life. So lean into the spark and get clear on what those goals are. As clear as you can be for where you are right now. So if you're not fully clear, like I said, that's okay. You can't force it. But at the minimum, in order to make a vision board, you want to think about things that excite you. Think about things that not only excite you in terms of your goals, but also in terms of how you want to spend your time. So you might not be totally clear on your goals, but you might be clear on how you want to feel. You might be clear on wanting to feel relaxed, wanting to feel fulfilled, wanting to feel happy, wanting to feel confident. So what are some photos that can represent those things? So I want to make it clear that even if you don't have the most clear vision for your goals, it doesn't mean that you can't make a vision board. It just means that we want to get as clear as we can, and we want to put photos on there that spark our light. Even if our vision is a little out of focus, we still have a direction. You can put photos that emulate that direction on your vision board. So step 2 is to find those photos. Gather photos that symbolize the vision, that make you feel the way you want to feel. Pictures that make you happy if you want to feel happy, or pictures that symbolize being able to have time for self-care if that's one of your goals. For example, for me, especially as a new mom, one of my goals is to have time for myself. And so one of the pictures that I put on my vision board is this woman in a bath. She has this nice wood board on top of the bath, and she's reading a book, and she's got a glass of champagne. And I'm like, yes, that sounds lovely. I would like to put that on my vision board. And it symbolizes a bigger goal for me, which is making time for myself. And that's up to me. And that's one of my goals. So you can choose photos that represent the goals in different ways. They don't have to mean anything to anyone but you. It's your vision board. It's not anyone else's vision board. So it's really about what it means to you. You don't have to explain it to anyone else. Once you have the pictures, you're going to put them on the Canva template. The templates that I've provided in the show notes have 10 photos, and they're more vertical than landscape, the photos. They're sort of like what you would see in a Polaroid kind of picture. So you can just click and drag them into the template. And I have a desktop template and I have an iPhone template. You can use the same exact photos for both. I made it super simple so that you don't need to find different photos that fit a different format. I recommend you do both because we look at our phones and we look at our laptops throughout the day. So it's really nice to have both. And what I do personally, because I also want to have photos of my family on my phone as my background. So I have my family as my inside background, and I've moved all my apps from the first page. Did you know now on the iPhone, you can put the apps anywhere? In the past, you used to be able to only put them in order. So at the top left corner, and then you could fill that row and then the row below. But now you can put them anywhere. So I've strategically placed just 4 apps on my homepage when I open my phone. And it's a photo of me, Richie, and Michael. And the apps are just kind of like in a place that doesn't block the photo at all. So I still have my family photo. Whenever I unlock my phone, it's right there. I still have access to the most important apps, and anything else is on the next page. But I have my vision board as my lock screen. So anytime I lock my phone, anytime I'm seeing what time it is, seeing what that text message said, I see the vision board as the background. So for me, I get to have both. And then on my laptop, I also have the vision board as the background. And what this does is, again, every time I look at it, I feel inspired. I feel reminded of my goals. I feel reminded of what I'm working towards. Some days are hard. Some days require more resilience. Some days we experience more rejection, failures, adversity. And seeing that vision board reminding me of why it's important to get back up helps me pick up the broken pieces and put one foot in front of the other, regardless of what challenges I face, because my goals are worth it, because my dream life is worth it. So the vision board has so many powerful effects, but I believe in having it somewhere that you can see it. I will also mention here that you could do a physical vision board. You could cut out photos. I also saw this cool Instagram reel where a girl had a pretty canvas and she had these cute little pins and she pinned photos on. It was sort of a more modern and aesthetic way of doing your traditional like canvas cut out of magazines vision board. So you could do it a lot of different ways, but what's important is that you pick photos that excite you and you have it somewhere that you can see it. So if you have it in your bedroom and you see it every day, great. Whatever works for you. Digital is super easy, and that's what I do, and that's why I'm sharing that. But I want you to know there are other options as well. There's no right or wrong way. It's whatever way feels good for you. as long as it's something that you reference. I've heard many stories of people who put their vision board in a closet, don't look at it for 20 years, open it up and realize that they've achieved many of their goals. Just the act of writing down your goals makes it more likely that you will achieve them. That being said, I believe in the power of this motivation, of this reminder, of this spark, and that's why I think it's important to actually have your vision board somewhere you can see it. So the last step before you finalize your vision board is to look at the pictures you've put on and look at them as you go as well, and ask yourself how it makes you feel. Occasionally, I'll put a picture on and I'm like, that isn't it. It's all about the feeling. So there's no logic, there's no reason. Vision boards are about the way it makes you feel. So for example, I was looking for a photo of a flight because I wanted this to symbolize that I am traveling frequently for my keynote speeches. And I found this window with a sunset on a flight. You saw the plane arm on Pinterest. It looked beautiful. But when I put it on the vision board, the crop, it kind of just looked like a dingy photo of a plane window. And I was like, this isn't the feeling. So I continued to look. I continued to search until I found the feeling I was looking for. And I found a different photo of a young girl in a fuzzy, comfortable matching set, which just is totally up my alley. And she's in the airport. She's sitting, like looking out these big windows at the plane. She has her feet up on her suitcase and she's reading a book. And I'm like, yes, that is the feeling. No rhyme or reason behind it, but that was the feeling the other picture wasn't. So I make sure that all of the photos on my vision board and the overall feel of it, maybe it's the order of the pictures, all of this matters. I make sure that that really communicates to me the way that I want to feel. Essentially, in other words, I make sure that it sparks my light. Last tip I will give you, if you want to maximize the aesthetics, if you're a very aesthetic person, I like to edit all of the photos in the same filter or a similar filter family. That way it kind of goes together and it has a consistent flow. For an easier step, you could just edit the whole vision board once it's done with a filter. But the reason that I edit the photos individually is because sometimes there's a really bright photo. It needs a little bit more editing than a photo that's really dark, or opposite editing. I'm not a photo editor, so I just use Lightroom filters, but I'll play with the intensity and things to make sure the photo looks good with the filter. Excuse me. So that's something that I do as well to just increase the aestheticness of it. And when you download my templates on the web page, there's actually a photo of a vision board that I made. And you can see the power of the consistent filter on that photo because it just looks beautiful and you will understand when you see it. So if you're an aesthetic person, I recommend you do that. Not everyone is that into aesthetics and some people just don't care. So if that's you, just ignore that recommendation. This is a me thing. I like the way things are aesthetically pleasing. So that's important to me when I look at it every day. Again, that adds to the sparking feeling because I want a life that kind of gives me that feeling of aesthetics. And this is why I am obsessed with reorganizing my fridge, reorganizing my cabinets, making my house super optimal, because that's something that sparks me. So it's funny because everything, every detail of the vision board really does communicate what sparks you. Now, some of you listening don't care about that. It would be like pulling teeth to get you to reorganize a cabinet in your kitchen on a Saturday afternoon. Whereas for me, that sounds like a dream come true. So we're all different, but it's important to figure out what sparks you, what excites you, and make sure that theme is incorporated into your vision board. So that's pretty much it. Once you have it set as your background, go about your life. Allow it to inspire you. The last thing I want to say is that sometimes your vision will change. If you were that person who felt like you're not quite sure, but you put pictures on that excite you to the best of your ability and you continue to do things in your life and reach for the spark, and then you come to a point where you get more clarity. You have a more concrete vision for what you want and you're excited about it. Maybe you want to incorporate photos of that onto your vision board. So you can edit your vision board at any time. Typically, I make my vision boards once a year. I like to do it at the beginning of the year, or another good time is around your birthday because you can kind of think of that as a chronological year for you. Or if you're just listening to this episode and you're inspired to create one now, great. You can create one now for the rest of 2025 and start a new one in 2026. You could make your calendar year start today. It really doesn't matter. It's whatever you want to do. You could even create smaller vision boards like for the quarters if you have really short-term goals that you want to focus on and be motivated for. That sounds like way too much work for me. I am inspired by my bigger goals for the year, and so that's why the yearly ones work for me. But I have changed them throughout the year when things shift, when I learn more about what I want and my vision evolves. I will allow the vision board to change with me. I also don't force myself to add something to it if I immediately have a new goal, as long as the vision board inspires me and kind of goes in that direction. I don't feel like I have to add every new goal I have to it or constantly keep editing it either. So it's really, again, I sound like a broken record, but going back to, does it spark you? If you have all these new goals and what you have on there just doesn't feel like a strong spark in comparison to what it could be with these new goals, then put them on. If you had a huge pivotal moment where you decided that instead of wanting this, you actually want this, and so the whole vision board needs to go out the door, great, start over. You can change it anytime. It's yours. There's no set rules, but that is typically what I tend to do. It's helpful to have some sort of timeline when you're making it. And sometimes I put goals on that are big goals. So you'll look at the vision board that I have on the website, and I have certain goals that are really big, like New York Times bestseller, 1 million followers on TikTok. I think I have on that one. Those are big, big, big dreams, and they aren't within the year goals. So at the time I was creating that vision board, I was just thinking, put all my dreams on. So you can do one like that too. It doesn't have to be for the year. Although I found as years have gone on, I made that vision board a couple of years ago, that I feel more focused on taking the action steps to get me there when I have goals on my vision board and photos that represent those goals that are a little bit more short term, because it helps me figure out what my next step is and take the right action steps towards that, as opposed to having this big, big, big goal that feels out of reach. And I'm like, eventually I'll get there, but I don't really do anything about it. So that is one reason why I try to put goals that are more within the year, from experience of past years where maybe I didn't take as much action towards some of the long-term goals. I didn't break them down well enough into more short-term goals. So that's something that can be really helpful. I hope this episode inspires you. If you make a vision board and you love it and you want to share it with me, I'd love to see it. I want to know, what are your goals? What sparks your light? Like, I want to see it. I want to root you on. So please send it to me. You can DM it to me on Instagram. That would be a great place. I would love to see it and cheer for you as you go for your vision. And if there's any way that I can support you, I am here for it. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. By the way, if you're a new listener, because I know we have some new listeners, if you're loving the show, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. If you don't know, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, on Spotify, you can see the video, so you probably know. But in case you just click play and don't really look, we are full video as well on YouTube and Spotify. Or you can listen on audio in all the places that podcasts are listened to. So wherever works for you. And if you love the show and haven't left a review yet, I'd be super grateful, as the more reviews that we have, the more likely we are to reach people who this show can help. So thanks so much for your support. So grateful for each and every one of you. And I will catch you in the next episode.